So welcome to the show. My name is John Hohen. I'm the owner of Life After Television and the LATVP Network. And we're thrilled to have Collin Bunch here, who's recently released an album. He's holding the name a secret. We'll just say it's the Collin Bunch album.
Yeah.
And that's what so welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
It's good to have you here. We've known each other for a while.
Yeah, a long time.
That's right. So what have you been doing in the last 5-10 years?
Just doing odd jobs here and there and playing music and just trying to take every day as it is, you know.
Well, I'd say you've been pretty busy as far as music is concerned.
Well, thank you.
So I also recognize the fact that you've been doing a lot of gigs here, not some of them not too far from where we're located right now. Some in Delaware, of all places,
Yeah.
Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
South Jersey.
Yeah.
Anything in Maryland?
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah. Maryland and New York are this year's venture.
Yes, that'd be awesome. So I watched some of your videos, and I noticed that you have quite a few different musicians that you're using. So what is your current band, and how did your band form? And this didn't just happen overnight. I suspect you've been doing
this was a couple years of meeting different people and just finding the right people. Try to get the good musicians, but just try to get good friends to help me out with this. So you know, I used to be in Tropical Nasty, and ever since then, that was like a bad relationship. It was just not a really fun. It was fun, but it was a lot of drama. And when I started playing music again after COVID, I said, if I'm going to do my own band, I want to make sure it's by my rules. I'm going to do what I want and make sure everybody gets paid and do it for the right reasons. Sing about good stuff, sing about God, and really try to make it so everybody can listen to it, not just a select few like the other band. So really, it came down to my my drummer, Brady, who I had known since Tropical Nasty, and I told him about my project. I said, hey man, we're good enough to be playing, we should be playing. COVID had just lifted up, and all of my acquaintances were playing in Philly, and I'm thinking, why can't I play in Philly? I'm going to do it myself then, and I really just had Brady first, and I had to find just musicians for that first Chris's Jazz Cafe gig, and I played guitar on it because I couldn't find a guitar player because I'm a bass player.
Yeah, I saw you had a bass player there.
And I met Gabe, my saxophone and flute player, and he introduced me to Anthony, who played keys on that gig, and Mark, who was on bass. And yeah, it was really a lot of fun. I just wanted to have fun and play music. And then from there, it was finding the right musicians. I always keep Brady. Brady's my boy. Shortly after that, through another friend, I met Michael on the keyboards, and we're great friends now. My guitar player, Usman, I had met maybe 4 years prior playing his music, and I met him in a blues bar at the Twisted Tail. And then from there, who else did I meet? I met Paco randomly on Facebook, my percussionist, and asked him if he wanted to play, and he joined, and it was just this, hey everybody, we're going to have fun. There's no pressure. You guys are all getting paid regardless. I'm going broke because of this. But we're going to have fun and make good music and hopefully have an impact.
So how would you describe your music? Are you jazz? Are you jazz rock? Are you jazz funk?
I try to just, I don't really know. I have all these influences that come out. I love jazz. I love funk. I love blues. I love rock. I love reggae. I love bluegrass. I love gospel. And so I just was like, you know what? I would always tell people, because a lot of times I wouldn't get the musicians that I want for the band. I'd have to get somebody else, and I'd show them some charts and some songs I want to play and my originals. I'd say, hey, look, you have full creative freedom to do whatever you want. I'm hiring you. Just play and have fun. You know, don't worry about the mistakes. Let's just make a good live performance for people. Let's make it honest.
So how do you do the auditions? You have musicians show up at practice and
I don't even have a practice. Half the time, if I just met them, there's a lot of gigs where I've just met somebody, and it's sink or swim.
That's trust.
Yeah, I say, hey man, you got to do what you got to do, and 9 out of 10 they perform. I've only had a couple train wrecks, and they're not really train wrecks. They're more of like fender benders.
Disappointment.
Yeah.
So this particular album, is this something that you came up with in the last couple of months, or is something you've been accumulating over some period of time?
I'm accumulating over some period of time. As Gabe told me in the studio, this is my little magnus opus, because all these songs mean so much to me, and they're all bits and pieces of my life over the past 7-8 years or so, where I've really wanted to make something where I could share with my friends and family that was me. And finally I had the opportunity last year in November, and yeah, it really
That's a great headshot on the front. You can, so from the perspective of someone who's worked with film and video,
yeah.
I've also worked with a lot of good photographers. It's really proves that the person is serious about what they're trying to do.
Well, thank you.
No, I mean, it's great work. So I don't know who the.
It was my guitar player Usman's brother Nadir, and he actually videoed most of the day and took a lot of great pictures that I still haven't released yet. And before we were about to leave, I was like, "Hey, I need a picture for the album. Just do a headshot." And he made me do this whole little photo shoot.
Do a shout out for this guy.
Yeah, Nadir, you're awesome. He made my eyes look gold and they're brown.
Good photographers are magicians. They see what we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just curious about that. So there are several different genres that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not any one particular, it's whatever you enjoy. And I would think, so do you decide on the music based on the players that are available, or do you have an arrangement in mind and you go out and get the players to match the...
Like I said, it really depends on who I have. So I'm going to do the same arrangement if I have these certain guys. So say, for instance, I played the Nomad Bar in Wilmington. The last time I played in October, I think, I had the full band that I have on the album. I had Brady on drums, Paco on the percussion, Michael on the organ and keys, David Scott on the saxophone, and myself on bass. I played the Milk Boy on South Street maybe a couple weeks later, and I only had this guy, Michael DePietro, on the keys, Gabe on the sax and flute, myself, and Brady. And it was a 4-piece, no guitar, no percussion, and we did the same stuff. It just sounds a little different, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with... Because they're different musicians, they're different people, they have their different problems and issues and pleasures and passions that all come through their instrument, and that's what I love. I love playing with different people. It's a cool thing.
But other thing that struck me, and we talked about it a little bit before the show, and that it was that I really liked the arranging that's done. So is you doing that based on who's available in the moment? Is it things that you've already given a lot of thought to in the back of your mind?
Well, when it comes to the live performances and the arrangements for that, it's pretty much no hold bars. It's just anything goes. I give everybody a shot. I let everybody take a solo. I let everybody express themselves. The less is more. Whatever happens, happens. I love that spontaneity and freedom. When it came to the recording, I had everything mapped out of this is where I want this is where I want that, and everybody listened really well, and it was a really fun and...
Yeah, I was listening to the album, and I got a kick out of some of the music. I like the Was it Chicken Scratch? Was kind of funky.
Oh, the Chicken Shack.
Shack.
Yeah, thanks.
Chicken Shack's kind of funky.
Yeah, you want to hear the story of that?
Yeah.
Because that's one take on that album, and so about a year ago, well, backtrack. There's a guitar player named Roger Girk who I adore. He's such a great guy. He always lets me sit in during his gigs, and he played this blues song about chickens and making chicken noises, and I thought it was so funny. The Woodstown Hotel had a blues open mic with some great friends, Luke Farrakhan, Paul Wilkinson, and Pat Hughes. And I tried to play that chicken song, but I couldn't remember any of the lyrics or how it even went. All that I do is, I could do some chicken noises, so I just made some little blues number up and made the lyrics up, and it's Woodstown, so it was a hit. And it just kept evolving and got more sillier and weirder, and then and it's a fun song to play.
So talk about the song 1111.
So 1111, I wrote that in California when I was living in a van in Venice, and I came up with
Sounds like the title of a movie.
Yeah, all the chords, and I kind of had some lyrics here and there, and but it was just kind of like this throwaway. I wasn't really sure what to do with it. I would make stuff on a looper pedal, and my old bandmate Mike Anthony would be like, "This is awesome! I love it." I didn't have a name or a title to it, but as kids we would always say, "Oh, it's 1111, make a wish," and ended up having a bad relationship, and her birthday was 1111. And it was very fitting. And not only that, but I tried to really make a really nice, beautiful ballad song. I wanted there to be a lot of instruments and like an orchestra in there. And that's why I have Gina Vinelli and Tressie Merigliano on the violin and cello, because we just overdubbed a bunch of parts and it sounds like a full orchestra when it's just two instruments. And yeah, it was just it's one of my favorite songs.
The recording was technically very good.
Thank you.
I like your arranging. So is there a favorite?
A favorite song
of yours on that album?
It's tough. I do love "Don't Lose Your Soul." That was a really my California experience is "Don't Lose Your Soul," and I wrote the music 3 months before we left. I don't even know what I was thinking, and all of the lyrics for it were the surroundings of living on Main Street in Venice, California. Next to the dog park, there was a hot dog stand across the street. We're waiting for the Candyman. This guy literally called the Candyman, who was helping us out with some gigs, and the van broke down, and the cops were always trying to bust us because we were too loud playing on the boardwalk. And there was all these factors of we were trying to make it, and there's roadblocks, and the roadblocks were really nice paved avenues that looked like, hey, let's just go do this, when it was a bunch of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And I remember Mike, I think he came out with Lose Your Soul, and I hated it. I did not like... I was like, no, I don't want to lose my soul. And then it was almost kind of like, all right, yeah, it's going to be Don't Lose Your Soul.
Yeah, I remember when you were doing videos right there in Venice. And it must be really difficult just trying to survive, more or less.
Yeah, it was always cutthroat. There was always somebody who was trying to take money from us, or be like, because we really believed that we could make it if we stuck together, and people saw that and believed it too, but they would want to take a piece of it.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, yeah, you guys are going to make a bunch of money. Let me see if I can help. And
intermediary.
Yeah, and
a fixer.
And we were so young and naive that we just were taking any help that we could get without really like.
You didn't have a manager that was protective, and
yeah, no, we had about 3 terrible managers that were all about money and blah, 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 blah. And half the time we're dealing with our own personal problems, let alone I'm starving and hungry, and now I got to deal with a fourth person who's up my butt about something that's unrelated, you know?
Noise.
Mm-hmm.
So that must have been traumatic, having to come back from LA after the van broke down.
Well, the van breaking down wasn't the reason I came back from LA. It was the sex, drugs, rock and roll lifestyles. Every day was, what am I going to eat? How am I going to survive? And it was this crazy episode of drama with something. And after 2 years, every day being a crazy story was enough. You know, I wanted some peace and quiet. I wanted to just like work a normal job. That bad relationship, I was trying to make it long distance, and I wanted to go back home to her. I missed my family. Mm-hmm. I was sick of living in a van. You know, I didn't want to brush my teeth and at the gym anymore and eat peanut butter sandwiches and save one burrito for 2 whole days. It was just, you know, I could have easily done it had maybe I'd been around people who weren't doing drugs. That was another thing, is like I didn't want anything to do with that. I just wanted to play music, and there was so much drugs, alcohol, and that rock and roll lifestyle that looks appealing to everybody. It really does. Everybody wants to be a rock star, and then if you're given it with, like, I was living that lifestyle with no money in my pocket. You know, people were just giving us stuff, and it gets to your head, and you don't want to. I could easily see myself, had I stayed there, going off the tracks.
Well, you survived it.
Yay! Yeah, I did. Thanks.
So you came home, and you probably had to spend some time just deprogramming and sort of getting the stress out of your system.
Well, here's the thing. As soon as I came home, I missed it immediately. And I traded the band stress with this relationship, because that was just as much stress as that, if not worse. And so there was no, like, decompressing. It was just jumping from one toxic relationship to another without realizing it.
Yeah.
You know?
So it doesn't sound like you're having those problems anymore.
You know, so after that, I really came to, you know, don't get me wrong, there was those moments, but she really helped me find God and Christ, and I helped learn to put my faith and trust in Him, and that's still been a rocky road, but over the past 3 years, it's gotten easier. Or I can't say easier, it's just gotten better in, I'm going to put Him first in everything I do. And that's what I've done with my work, with my relationships, with music. And, I mean, here I am now giving you an interview over a CD that was just a thought when I was living in a van. I was like, I'd love to put my own music out. Meanwhile, I'm fighting with Mike and Dave in an alleyway while the LA residents are like, wow, those Jersey boys are crazy.
So it sounds like you've grown quite a bit since that time.
Yeah, I'd like to say I've grown a little bit.
I can see the difference.
Well, thank you.
I think you feel like your life has more purpose, and that it's now something that you can actually do.
Yeah, it's not about me, it's about God. I'm not doing anything. John, if I would have told you all the gigs that I had last year were from these really unprofessional emails with 2 YouTube videos that my mom took that are a little shaky, that you can hear talking while she's filming, and yet I was getting these gigs, it didn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense. And
but now you trust this intuition or whatever this is.
Yeah, I trust God completely, 100%. 100%. It's so funny that I've even gone this far in my life without trusting Him before, you know, because I was anywhere but, in high school and in Tropical Nasty, it was Antichrist.
I think you have to reach a stage in your spiritual growth where you can listen.
Yeah. Exactly. You got to hit rock bottom, and then it's silent.
You have to listen.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have a calling.
I'd like to say so. Yeah. Hey, he gave me a gift of music.
Well, I'm a strong believer in the arts. I mean, I think it soothes the human soul, and that people are more connected with music, perhaps, than almost anything else. It's not an intellectual process either.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like comes from the heart.
Sure does.
So I wanted to, I'm glad you said that. I wanted to talk to you about that because I know that you've gone through, metamorphosis. It's like you had to go to California.
Yes.
You had to go through that gauntlet, so to speak. And now it sounds like you're very focused on things that are important to you.
Yeah.
You're not having, and you're probably getting better at saying no.
Here and there, you're right. I had to go to California to. It's so funny. On the album is "He Is Exalted," which is a hymn from I think maybe the 70s or 80s. It's not that old of a hymn, and when we were in the van, we had this homeless community that we were living with, and one of the homeless guys was this Spanish Apache Indian named Daniel Daniels. And we called him Mr. D, or Mr. Daniels. And whenever we would talk about him, people were like, oh, you mean the drink? I'm like, no, it's Mr. Daniels. Or like, okay, whatever. Anyway, he would help us show, like, hey, get your EBT cards. Go to Subway and get some food. Hey, the church down the street has free coffee and donuts. I mean, I was starving. And I went, I asked the guy, I said, you want to go? And my friend Keith Friel showed up with me, and it was life-changing. That one message about, I don't even know, by Pastor Steve Weller. The next week, we were the church band. And our worship leader was like, hey, these songs are really easy. And then she throws He Is Exalted, and we're all like scratching our heads like, this is really tough. And I loved it, and I still love it. And now here I'm back, and every time I sing it, it is just, it brings me right back to that homeless church.
Can you sing it for us?
He is exalted, the King is exalted, and I will praise His name. My voice is a little shot right now.
I've heard this song.
Yeah, it's just about He is exalted.
Yeah, I looked through the titles of the songs, and it definitely seemed to be the same vibe.
Yeah,
through it.
I wanted to. If I was gonna, I told myself, if I'm gonna make an album, I'm gonna give it to God as like, here's my little offering.
It's pretty clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at first I thought the title of the album was Topic.
Yeah, I know. Well.
But what's funny about that is that that's sort of street lingo for subject, which is the things that are important in religion.
Yeah.
So I try to do my homework.
Well, that's great, and I love that you picked up on that, because I didn't really, when I see it on YouTube, I'm like, oh yeah, it's me, and then it just says Topic, and I don't even know why it said that, but
it works.
It works.
It works. It works. So your fans, the people that I know, there are people that have been following you ever since before you went to California. So do they recognize the new Collin bunch? Do they? Everybody's still on board?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I know that the people that really love my music still support me, regardless of my religion or anything. I know I laugh because I tell a lot of people if my parents and my sister showed up to a gig, then I could really care less who shows up. You know what I mean? Because I'm just so grateful that they're there, or any of my family for that matter. But yeah, I don't think I've lost any fans.
No, I think you must be growing your following.
I think so.
And I saw the videos and the people, you know, they seemed pretty pleased to me.
I hope so. Yeah.
In fact, I may show some of those video cuts
Okay.
in the interview. So, what happens next? I mean, what are your gigs that are coming up, and how can people find you on the web?
So I got Facebook and Instagram, and I have an email and a phone number.
That's good.
Yeah. What's next, really? So I only have a couple gigs booked right now for this year. I have I'm playing the Hummingbird in Wilmington and Charlie Square at the end of the month, and I'm playing the Woodstown Hotel at the end of the month as well. I got a couple Nomad gigs in April and March, and I'm playing the Pennsville Wine Fest in May at the park. And I'm actually taking another trip back out to LA to celebrate my album with all of my old friends that are out there. So I booked a gig at the Trip in Santa Monica. So I'm trying to make that a big
That's very cool.
homecoming banger where we just have fun and make great music.
So do you have like your tour, all of your upcoming gigs on a flyer or something?
No, not yet. But I usually post them all on
we'll have to help you with that.
Yeah.
So what's your long range goal? I mean, what do you?
You know, of course, I've always had the dream of touring or playing a big venue, whether it's a theater or a stadium, and I don't really have a main goal. I just want to continue to play music and play music until the day I die, and help people enjoy themselves and dance a little bit, and maybe know a little bit more about God than they didn't. So that's really my long-term goal. I'm not worried about fame or fortune. I got a normal day job where I got a little retirement benefits and stuff like that, where I'm not really too worried about leaving it, unless the opportunity came. But right now I'm just taking it day by day and enjoying just playing music with my friends, and maybe making a couple bucks here and there.
So any questions I didn't ask you that you'd like to be asked?
Any questions that...
What did we leave out?
What did we leave out?
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no. I'm just trying to think, because I didn't even think about any questions. Really, I didn't. Maybe what's your favorite gig over the past year?
And why?
My favorite gig. It's a three-way tie.
A
three-way tie.
Get three answers for one question.
The first one was I played the Nomad Bar in 23. It was April 18th or 17th. And that was my 1 year anniversary from the last time I played Chris's, which was my first show, my debut as a band to the public. And it was a packed house, and it was super fun, and it was just everybody enjoying themselves. And actually, my keyboard player Mike, his brother, played on guitar last minute because I couldn't find anybody, and it was just us four, and we just had a good time. Number two would be the September Fest, because it's always just so much fun to play in your hometown to a bunch of people and then eat cheese fries afterwards. and it's the highest paying gig I get. They pay me like $1,000, which is
nice.
Unheard of. I get to pay everybody like $150, and it's like, yay. And then
it's a nice thing to create jobs.
Yeah, but I think Duke Ellington, he's got a quote. He's like, the gimmick that I use with my musicians is money. And it works. And then my third favorite gig, it was probably the Nomad again. And it was in October. It was the last time I played there. And it was dead in there. Because it's a hit or miss sometimes. You know, you can promote as much as you want. People might not want to come out because of the weather or a football game.
Yeah.
And there was really nobody in there. And I had my full band. And at first I was really stressed out because now I'm paying all this money because I paid out of pocket to get my guys, and there's nobody in the bar but the bartender and one other person. And
tips won't pay the parking.
yeah, I was a little stressed out at first, and then I took a deep breath. I said a prayer. I said, you know what, guys, let's just have fun. I don't care. And we played our tails off. We played so much that we built the crowd from people walking by. There was a club next door of people lined up, and we were just bringing them in. And by the end of the night, it was a packed house. And all I could think of was, we earned this crowd today, fellas.
It's like the competition in New Orleans.
Yeah, right?
You listen for the sound, and so everybody gravitates to the sound.
Yeah, it reminded me of my busking days in California, too, because we would have to build the crowds as well. And
Have to.
there would be the flipper crew that was just, everybody wants to see kids doing back handsprings over and over and over and over again, and we're just like, okay, here's a Jimi Hendrix tune, you know.
Well, I certainly enjoyed talking to you today,
John, thank you very much for having me.
and really appreciate it. Thanks for it's a little out of your way, but I hope that you'll follow Collin and his band. We'll get a flyer together.
Cool.
And we'll put it into the video. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching the show. Please support Collin and his band, and we'll see you next time.